Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Lifetime Legacy Lawyer podcast. My name is Thomas Vick. I'm joined by my co-host, Seth Wilson. Seth, how are you today?
Thomas, I'm doing great. It's been a minute since we've been able to jump on a call together and talk about some of our favorite topics here on estate planning. So it's good to catch up with you and see you on the other side of the screen there, so to speak. But we're doing great, enjoying the summertime. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're doing great as well. Yeah, we've had the 4th of July weekend since the last time that we spoke. We had a good time. We went down to Franklin, just a little bit south of our Greenwood office, and went to the fireworks on July 3rd, and then shot off some fireworks at our house and had a good old time. Maybe for some people, the fireworks were a little bit too big that were shot off by our neighbor, but we enjoyed it. So no complaints on our end. But yeah, it's been great. Hope you had a good 4th of July weekend as well. And happy to dive into some estate planning topics with you.
Yeah, it's awesome. You think about how are we midway through July already, and we were kind of talking about that of getting prepared for what's next. And I think we kind of mentioned this in a couple episodes ago, talking about graduation parties and things that are happening around the state as seniors are graduating. But then we kind of moved through that June so quickly that now we're getting ready for back to school. So I kind of wanted to go back on one of your topics that you had posted on your blog, which was some of these essential legal documents for graduating seniors. And as folks are getting ready maybe to start their freshman year of college, what does that look like for families, and what should they be thinking about in terms of their graduate going off to college?
Yeah, so whenever somebody is graduating, you assume that they're right around the age of 18 years old. Maybe they're a child genius and they're 12 years old, but in all likelihood, they're probably 18 years old, and they may be staying at home, going to a local college, or maybe they're going to trade school, um, but maybe they're going away to college as well. And really, in any of those situations, we've turned a page now in the eyes of the law. They're 18, and so they're of the age of majority, and a parent's rights are not the same as they were when the child was a minor. And one of the main ones is the child now is an adult and can make financial decisions on his own and healthcare decisions on her own. And so you've got, um, some more independence that by law is placed within the child. And estate planners kind of help clients think about that and say, hey, what does that mean now that we've turned the page? We've got some things that we need to think about. And one of them is a financial power of attorney. And it doesn't have to be a very long document. It could be just, the basic simple one that the Indiana statute allows for. Doesn't have to be all that extensive, but having some document in place where the parent is able to make financial decisions for the child if the child is not able to is really important.
Yeah, and it's practical as well because you may need to put funds or transfer funds from a child's account. And now that they're 18, you don't have the legal authority as mom or dad to do that anymore. And that's kind of a wake up call of, oh, the doctor's not releasing information. So now we also have that both on that financial side and on the healthcare side. And there are like some stopgap measures I think that you can put in place in terms of having your child sign a release or authorization from the school to release grades, for example, and those kind of things. But having those documents set up from a power of attorney standpoint for financial purposes and from healthcare can really be beneficial in this kind of interim season. And one thing we've suggested to our clients, especially as children are becoming adults, they like that independence and they don't always like the idea that mom or dad could be making decisions for them still or have a right to all this access all this information. And so we have suggested maybe you put renewable term limits on the documents, or say, let's do this for a year, see how it works. If we need to have it expire, it's going to go away and everything's back to you being completely independent or not. And so there's other ways to kind of address both sides of the coin to help everybody work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to have those in place because, you just don't know what's going to happen. And unfortunately, accidents do happen. And if that child were to get sick and need somebody to help make healthcare decisions, uh, the parents, there's some statutory provisions to allow parents to do so, but you really want to leave no doubt and make sure that the parents are going to be able to make healthcare decisions for their child after age 18. And the same is true for financial decisions. If something were to happen to the child and, something with, you know, scholarships or, student loans or something like that, dealing with the school, you want to be able to do that through the legal means necessary and not have to get a court involved, because a guardianship can be quite cumbersome and expensive when just a couple simple documents could probably solve the issue.
Yeah, that's such a good point in terms of the guardianship. The guardianship process is one of those that theoretically should be very smooth and easy to walk through in a lot of cases. But if there is any kind of controversy about that guardianship or the need for the guardianship, you're either going to have to prove up that the need for the guardianship exists, which means having medical documentation and evidence that shows, hey, this is the scenario, or if there's any kind of challenge to it of, maybe you're trying to get guardianship and the child objects, then you've got a very difficult scenario ahead of you. And if you can do these things by agreement, by the child naming the parents as the power of attorney initially, again, understanding that they can always fire the parents if they want to at that point, that kind of helps just bridge that gap between kind of 18 and what's next for them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And kind of what you said at the beginning of this is a good time to do it because, while you don't really think about doing estate planning for your children when they're getting ready to go off to college, that really is a great time to do it. These are life changes that are happening. And that's what we recommend to people, is to review your estate plan or get an estate plan during life circumstances that are changing, at big life events. That's when you want to talk to an estate planning attorney. And so between now and when kids go to college in mid-August, maybe late August, that's the time to be thinking about, hey, let's get to an attorney's office and just get something in place.
Yeah, agreed. It's a whole new world of experience, especially if this is your first child who's graduated and now heading into this next phase of life. And there's going to be a lot of forms and paperwork to fill out at the school. It's pretty easy to miss sort of one of those essential release documents if that's one of the issues. And having that power of attorney in place can really fill in those gaps very, very well. Well, some other news that kind of came out since we've last chatted, Thomas, is some updates to the Indiana Pathways for Aging program in Indiana. And so this is definitely in your practice area and focus of experience. So I wanted to ask you kind of what your thoughts were on that. And I thought you had a really good piece on the blog digest about this and kind of explaining what Hoosiers need to know.
Yeah, I'm kind of pulling it up so I can have the statistics in front of me. They have Indiana FSSA has moved from kind of the Medicaid waiver to this choice program, pathways program, and Pathways for Aging is the name of it, and it is for individuals that are age 60 and over, and that have basically a slot available for a waiver, what has typically been called the Medicaid waiver, and um, it's a change kind of in light of the budget. I think it has been in the works, but it's kind of happening at the same time that there were a lot of budget issues in 2023 with the Medicaid waiver program and home and community-based services through FSSA. FSSA was over budget by $1 billion in 2023, and there has been a lot of talk about that in the news, and FSSA has been trying to figure out a way of solving that problem so that they don't go over budget again. And their solution has been to move to a wait list for Medicaid waiver recipients. And the wait list is pretty extensive. Let me see if I can. I think for the pathways waiver, I think altogether there are like 39,000 or so slots, but some of those are already taken. The majority of those are already taken, and if I recall correctly, it's approximately 11,000 slots that will be opening up in the next fiscal year. So that would be July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. But Indiana FSSA is only going to be inviting about 800 people each month between now and, this next fiscal year. And so a lot of people are being placed on a wait list, and they're not going to be able to get services at home as they would have if they had not been on the wait list. They have to wait to get invited off of the wait list and then apply for Medicaid. And of course, when you apply, you have to be eligible from a financial standpoint. So that's really where an elder law attorney is going to be able to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Is once you're off of the wait list, then we can take a look at where your assets are and then make plans for getting you Medicaid eligible. But the effect of that is a lot of people are just not going to receive services that they probably could have gotten, just 6 months ago when there wasn't a wait list. So a lot of people are waiting for services, and they're not going to get them unless they go into a nursing home. So you're not going to have, while you're on the wait list, Medicaid won't be paying for assisted living, or if the individual is at home, you're not going to be able to get in-home care, nursing care, things that really would allow people to stay at home are not going to be available because of the wait list. And, hopefully FSSA will move quicker than 800 people per month, but there are apparently thousands of people that are on the wait list according to those numbers. And it's an unfortunate situation right now. And so some of my conversations with people that are in need of assisted living or in need of at-home care is, how are we going to finance this? And literally, it might be that you have to finance it. It might be that you've got to take out a reverse mortgage from your home, use the equity because that may be your only asset that has substantial value, and use those funds to be able to pay for your care, to stay at home or stay for assisted living or what have you. And then apply, hopefully, within the year. So it's the really, really tough situation, Seth. And I've had a lot of conversations, especially in the last week or two, with people about just what the wait list means. And I've had some difficult things to convey to clients, and hate doing it, but that's where Indiana FSSA has left us.
So the key, I think, there is to get started as quickly as you can and get all the necessary paperwork done, but be prepared that it's going to be a waiting game in a lot of ways. And during that waiting period, that's what can cause real challenge to a family from a financial standpoint.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head right there. So, uh, to start the process of applying for Medicaid for assisted living costs or for at-home services, you get SECOA, or the Area Agency on Aging in your county, to come and do an assessment and then approve you for eligibility for a waiver slot. But then they're going to get you on a wait list. And then, so you want to be on that wait list as soon as possible. I know that I've had clients that, have gotten qualified through the Area Agency on Aging within, the month of May of 2024, and they haven't gotten off the wait list yet. And so there's a lot of waiting that's happening. So talk to an elder law attorney or an estate planning attorney about the situation and how to figure out a plan to get you the care that you need, or your loved one the care that they need, because it's a difficult time right now in Indiana FSSA.
Yeah, and I think the hope is that all of this will get ironed out and kind of corrected and create a pathway, which is in the name of the program, to really help facilitate this for folks coming down. But there's definitely a problem that had to get remedied, and this is the proposed solution to it. And so time will tell if this is an effective solution or not. But in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of people kind of caught up in the challenge here of some of these decisions that were made prior to this year. So again, just work through that process as best you can, but start as early as you can if that's a scenario, and just be prepared that it's going to be a potentially lengthy process to get things going.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say about the actual change to the Medicaid waiver thing with the Pathways program is that the idea is for these three insurance companies, Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, and United Healthcare. You'll get to choose which one of those insurance companies to handle your case, so to speak. And so I think you'll have a care manager that will kind of be in charge of what's happening. And so I think you'll have a centralized location for where, a certain person that you need to talk to, or a certain company that you need to talk to about services. And that may be a benefit, as it turns out. I know that for the last 2 or 3 years, or maybe more, FSSA has been working towards this, and it's, so before all of the budget issues happened, it was in the works. But I think that could be beneficial, because you'll just have one point of contact that can manage everything for an individual with long-term care needs. So that's another thing I was going to mention about that.
Yeah, that's good. And we may need to spend another episode on the podcast kind of unpacking a little bit of what this looks like and how this is going to change the process for folks, and give a little bit more detail. So stay tuned for that in the future. But as we are moving through July here rather quickly and getting ready to turn attention to back to school shopping and making sure the school supply list are checked off, you had some information on your blog about some offers for teachers, and I wanted you to have a few minutes to chat about that today.
Well, I love teachers. My mom is a teacher. She's a retired teacher. She worked for over 20 years at Perry Township schools, taught science, taught home ec, taught tech ed, did a lot of different things, and she's often substitute teaching at Perry Township schools still, so she just can't get away from it. But we wanted to honor teachers and help teachers, and so my law office is going to be providing a 10% discount to teachers, public school teachers that are that need estate plans. So, whether it's a basic estate plan or a trust plan, asset protection plan, I'm going to provide a 10% discount to public school teachers to kind of honor them. They've taken care of a lot of people in their years of service, and so I kind of want to pay them back with just a little bit of a discount and take care of them as well. So I announced that through a blog post that will be going to the e-newsletter this Friday, and just hope that we can help a lot of teachers through that.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate you doing that. My mom was also a teacher, although I was homeschooled, so she
Yeah,
taught all of us kids at home. So
yeah,
my wife is a teacher and a librarian, and I do some adjunct teaching on the side. So we are we are definitely in the camp for teachers because it is such an important profession in the lives of our young minds as they're learning and growing and just seeking out what their call is in this world. So pretty cool. Glad you're able to do that, and looking forward to hopefully being able to serve some educators through that process.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
Well,
very good.
I think we've covered it for today. Seth, how can people get in touch with you up in Noblesville?
Well, Thomas, you hit the nail on the head. To borrow your phrase from earlier, we are located right here in the heart of Hamilton County in Noblesville, and that's our web address, noblesvilleattorney.com. Has all of our contact information right there. How about yourself?
The best way to get in touch with me is by going to viclaw.org and scheduling a consultation, viclaw.org. Well, I think that'll do it for today. Seth, we'll talk to you later. Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.